has been praying for a harvest in this church. 5 years ago, when we had started, Daniel, Pastor Dan, me, and Sam had come here. Sam was the only child. Felicity was a little dot. Ava was born in front of us, and we prayed for children. Did you see this stage today? And this is not the sum total of everybody. So, for those who have actually prayed for the children to come, now need to come and support the children's ministry, because they have multiplied from somewhere. You know, God actually multiplies everything. Our children are multiplying. So for those of you who would like to come and work with children, because it's absolutely amazing. Anne said this morning, never work with children or animals. I only work with children or animals. It is so much fun. You know what? Nobody in their right mind would think, let's write a script and we'll rehearse this on the morning of the event. We did that and we pulled it off. So these are amazing. They are for hiring. I am their manager. If you want to use them in any situation, please contact me. Right. Now, if you saw the script, the play this morning, Farmer Andy, who was the farmer, he had sown his seed. He had done his job, hadn't he? He had done the job of planting the seeds. And it was up to God then to send the rain and the sun at the right time. And even when we are thinking nothing is happening, well, I planted something here, it's gone now, God blessed it, and when the season was right, it came to pass that everything grew and bore fruit at the right time. Today I want to speak to you regarding harvest, the culture of honor. So I've been thinking about harvest. Having grown up in India, I have realized that they also have harvest festivals, not the way we make it, honoring God. Theirs is more a cultural thing. They get together and they thank whoever for the harvest. In every culture, in every faith, there would be something that honors whatever powers they believe in for a harvest. I'm so blessed to see you guys have been so generous in sharing that this is full. We have brought this into the church. We could have actually gone to a feeding place, a charity, and we could have given them and it would have been fine. But we have brought them to church, and there is a relevance to it. The relevance is honoring God. So if you look up the word honor as a noun, it means esteem, value, or great respect. So if we honor somebody, we hold them in high esteem. We value them and we give them respect. You know, we have a culture, when we go to each other's houses, we will often take a gift or something to honor the host. If you're going for a meal, we might take some flowers, we might take a box of chocolate. To the host, it means that you have given thought. When you walk through somebody's house and you present to them, it could be a simple £2.99 bar of chocolate, but to the one receiving it will feel honored. They may have 42 bars of chocolates in their pantry, but because you came and you blessed them, you were honoring them, you were thanking them, you were blessing them. I want to give you 5 pointers today on this honor and what we have done today. And as we go through the word, we will unpack what it means. First of all, we need to understand that God is a God of seasons. There is a rhythm to this universe. I was thinking yesterday, and we were talking about seasons, and this one of the ladies who came last, she had winter, and she was talking about the rhythm. And I began to think, you know, the people who think that the world was created out of nothing on its own. I'm just thinking how amazing is the talent of this world to create from itself out of nothing, but nothing more is being created right now. Right? Everything was created from dust thousands of years ago, what they believe, or the clashing of the two planets, but that has stopped. We are now having to study the rhythms of the universe. Have you heard the term? Universe will send it, universe has made it, universe. We don't know what that universe is, even. But when you look at the intricacy of this world, on time, the season changes. On time, there is day and night. On time, there is harvest. On time, we sow things. Babies, when they are born, 9 months is the time. We're not evolving to 14 months, God forbid. And we're not going back to 3 months either, sadly. A mum has to wait 9 months carrying the baby. Everything has a rhythm. Genesis 8:22 says, "While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease." So God is talking about rhythms, that this will not change, this will not cease, the rhythm will continue. Very, very popular, I think we all know this, Ecclesiastes 3:1-22, and it talks about this seasons. For everything under the sun, there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. Time to be born and time to die, time to plant, time to pluck up what is planted, time to kill and a time to heal, time to break down, time to build up, time to weep, time to laugh, time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. Basically, what the Bible tells us is that for every season, for everything, there is a specific time. So first of all, our God is a God of rhythms. We were here last year around about the same time, celebrating the Harvest Festival, and the year before that, and the year before that. We celebrate birthdays at the same time every year. 2 Sundays ago, we had a new baby in church. We have been blessed with a new baby a few weeks ago. That is a rhythm. God is sending these rhythms and sending the babies. What you reap is what you sow. The second thing about a harvest is what you reap is what you sow. I can sow a seed for an apple tree and pray for oranges. That is not happening. God is a God of miracles, but again, there are principles to this rhythm, isn't it? There is a principle to everything. So whatever you are reaping, exactly what you will sow. 2 Corinthians 9, verse 6 says, "The point is this, whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows bountifully will also reap bountifully." Right? So whoever is sowing little bit, you could be in a community, there is a need, and you don't bless people. The principle is you will also not be blessed from the bounty, because there is a principle, there is a process, there is a principle to it. You know, as Christians, we are supposed to give generously. And it doesn't only mean finances, because I understand finances could be limited. Love, respect, honor, blessing, prayer, this is unlimited. We can bless people in more ways than one. If we know somebody is struggling, we could come alongside them. I remember 4 years, as you know my story, I was praying for a child. In the waiting, anybody had a child, I would be at the front of the queue wanting to bless the child. For me, it was this desire to not only bless God's promise, but also to be able to do baby shopping. I only have to know there's somebody's pregnant, I go shopping. And my husband actually has to sit on me to stop me. Because I may not know you very well, but you will get a gift for your baby from me. And when our Sam was born, I will tell you, I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating, our house was full to bursting with the things he was blessed with. It broke my heart because I wasn't able to use everything that he was given. A friend of mine who I met online friendship is not good, don't trust everybody. It was 17 years ago. She was also waiting for a baby, I was waiting for a baby. We kind of connected and shared. She had Grace about 8 months before I had my Sam. She came with suitcases full of stuff from newborn to 1 year. And I was like, where am I going to put it? And how am I going to use it? You know, you can never outgive God. When God blesses you, he will bless you over and above of what you do for anybody. And God keeps account of every blessing. He doesn't forget. Sometimes you may stand alongside somebody and they may forget it. And you might feel, I did such a lot for them, but they don't remember it. It's okay, because God remembers. And He's the one who rewards. Yeah? We should not look at man to say, I did this for you, so you did do back for me. The reward is in heaven. Right? The point was, sow as you want to reap. In English, there's a saying, do unto others as you want others to do unto you. Pretty much the same principle. Bless people so that God in heaven sees it and blesses you. Right? The third one is, God blesses and multiplies the work of your hand. You may do whatever you fancy to make your crops grow, but unless God blesses it, you will not have a harvest. Right? So every time you plant something, it could be a seed, you could be planting a prayer, you could be planting a hope, a desire, you could be revealing to God the desires of your heart. You cannot make anything work. Doesn't the Bible say that we can't even do anything to one hair on our head? So all the people who do not have any hair, God has taken it away. But what I'm saying here is, we cannot add or subtract to anything that we do. It is in the hands of God. 2 Corinthians 9 verse 10 says, He who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will supply and multiply your seed for sowing and increase the harvest of your righteousness. Your job is to sow. Your job is to bless. Your job is to honor, and it's done with. Don't do it with the expectation of receiving it back, but believe that the Father in heaven, He sees everything, and He is the one who will bless. You know, yesterday Sam had a very busy day. He was playing worship in the church for the conference. Then he went with his dad to Aston University. He's seeing universities at this time. And then he went to work. And I was really proud of him because as a child, you always moan and say, I don't want to go to work. He picked up his uniform, he wore it, and he just went to work. He didn't come home till 10, 11 o'clock. But he is doing faithfully even the simplest of things. Do you know, you might think that your job is very simple. You might think that nobody sees what you do. You might think that people don't even know whether you are alive or dead. There's one person who's keeping an account of everything. He's the one who's blessing you. He's the one who's taking care of you. And He's the one who will reward even the simplest of things. The Bible also says that faithful is He in small things, because then He will get bigger rewards. When God sees you doing a simple thing, God will be the lifter of your head. He will be the one who's going to bless you. He's the one who's going to prosper you. He will be the one who will say, I know this man is trustworthy. I have tested him and found him trustworthy in everything. I'm going to bless this person. He's the one who will give us the bread for food and multiply our seed for sowing. You may have very little food in the house, and you will have suddenly some people come in, and you will realize that the food is lasted and there's left over. And that is because God has multiplied it. You may think you have one talent, something that is not even important. God will use it at the right time, multiply it, and you will realize you are heading a ministry in church, and you will think, I don't know how that happened. You may not be the first choice. We were talking about this yesterday. Reinhard Bonnke, when God called out to him, we cannot not know Reinhard Bonnke. His ministry was immense. It's still continuing even after he's dead. Reinhard Bonnke was seventh choice, fifth, seventh, something like that. He wasn't the first choice. He wasn't the first man God called out. The first man was probably busy. The second man was also busy. I can't remember, was it somewhere? I can't remember whether it was for Jubilee. We did a skit, didn't we? Where God was calling out to people, and people were saying, oh, I've got to tend to my sheep, and I've got to go home, and I've got to bury my dead, and all kind of things. If you say yes to God, God will honor you. God will bless you, God will multiply you, God will make sure that there is always bread in our house. I've shared a testimony of how we were going through a season just before going to India. I'd left my job, we didn't have a lot of money, and I did not have any talent whatsoever. And I used to wonder, God, how can I serve God? Because I don't know anything. I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't do anything. Lord, how can I serve you? And I thought, you know what, whoever walks through that door, I'm going to feed them. I can cook, and I'm going to feed them. And so many people were fed in that house, and I have no idea where the resources came from. I never had to think somebody might come and I don't have food. I do not know. My storehouses always had food. And that is the blessing of God. Leviticus 26, verses 3 and 4 says, "If you walk in my statutes and observe my commandments and do them, then I will give you your rains in this season, and the land shall yield its increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit." Your job is to sow, leave everything else to God. Your job is to bless people. Your job is to do good. Your job is to shine your Christian light, and then the people around you will see you and praise your Father in heaven, because they will know that you carry something else. When there's a fight somewhere, an argument somewhere, you don't get involved. It's not your place. You bring peace. Whenever you pray for somebody, they say, don't know what happens, but every time you pray, something changes. Might not change my situation, but I become more peaceful. And that is your light. It is your God that yields your increase. And your kitchen garden, if you have. I've heard so many people say that somehow, even past the season, whatever little I'm growing in my house, in my greenhouse is still giving us tomatoes. I've stopped looking at them because I've eaten so many tomatoes. I've made so many recipes, beautiful soups and everything. But somehow, you will have a harvest in miraculous ways beyond its season. Then the fourth one is be present at the time of harvest. So the first one was God is a God of seasons. What you reap is what you sow is second. The third one is it is God who blesses and multiplies the work of your hands. And the fourth one is be present at the time of harvest. Proverbs 10:5 says, "He who gathers in summer is a prudent son, but he who sleeps in harvest is a son who brings shame." Do you remember the story of the ant and the grasshopper? Yeah? There was an ant and there was a grasshopper. The grasshopper is lying in the summer singing songs to whatever, trees, and the ant is actually furrowing away, little by little, food. And the grasshopper is going, you got to be kidding me. It is summer, man. We should lie under this tree and we should sing songs. And ant is going, never mind. And then what happened? Season changed. Winter came. The ant is nicely sitting inside, rubbing his hands, the fire going, there's lovely foods happening, maybe an apple tart baking or whatever. And there's this grasshopper knocking and says, can I have some food? Yeah. We've got to be present with harvest. And the spiritual meaning of it is, when it's time to work for God, don't shirk it. Don't shy away. Don't find something else to do. When there is work to be done, when there is ministry happening, when the church pastor says, do you know what, these are the leaflets, let's go and speak to people. Let's give out an invite for our Christmas event. This children's ministry needs people, men and women of valor and bravery, and people who are not scared of children. Come and do it. We are having an event in church. We are actually having an event at church, 31st of October, we are having Bright and Light Party. It's always been such a popular event. It is always heaving. Come and do something. You may not think that you have got a talent of helping. God knows that this church elders will put you to work. They have got such brilliant ideas of making you work. When there is breakfast, we are being fed, but it would be a good idea for us to go to Steph and say, Steph, do you need help? Can I sing while you cook? Not me personally, but, encourage them in some way or the other. When it is time for harvest, yesterday, I know Sharon, Anne has spoken about Sharon. So Sharon, as she said, is a wee lady, late middle age. I would put her around late 50s, early 60s. Single, which I thought was the reason of her joy, because she didn't have a husband and a child. But I did say to her, I said, the reason why she is on fire is because She doesn't have to make sure that, husbands and children are fed. But that lady, she's very simple, and when you speak to her, she's like a very ordinary person. When she started speaking, she was like a firecracker. When she spoke about Jesus, she was joyful, she was jumping, she was on fire. If I wasn't a believer, I tell you, I would have told her, tell me where to sign. I am ready. I want to know this Jesus. And that is the fire we need to have inside of us. That is what people need to see. The harvest time is now. The Bible says the fields are ready, they are ripe, they are golden. Where are the people who will do the harvest? You are the people who do the harvest. We are the people that are harvesting. And we need to make sure that we are present at the time of harvest and not singing under a tree like that grasshopper. The last one, give to God the glory due to him. Everything that we have heard today would not be possible without God. There would be no seasons without God. There would be no reaping and sowing without God. There would be no multiplying of the seeds without God. And there would be no harvest without God. Sometimes I marvel, tomato, have you seen a tomato seed? It is so little and it is so light. When I sow tomato seeds, my tomatoes have taken over the greenhouse. I talk about tomatoes because that's the only thing that I know how to grow. So tomatoes, they take over and it gives a harvest 10 times or more that little seed. So it's not like you are planting one seed and you are harvesting one tomato. You are planting one apple and you are harvesting an apple. God is the one who multiplies it. The glory belongs to God. I may be a fantastic gardener, which I am not, but I could not even make one seed harvest without God's blessing. I can give all the water it wants, I can give all the food it wants. If it's not God's will for that plant to fruit, nothing would happen. We need to honor God. Sometimes we become so busy, especially as Christians, in doing good, which we should, like I've said, that we forget to give God his first place. We forget to be honoring of God. If God turned up in this room, none of us would be able to sit in front of his glory. We would be prostrate on the floor and not be able to look up. But God, in his generosity, has loved us beyond all our faults, all our mistakes, all our sins, all our hardening of hearts, all our turning our back on somewhere where God didn't want us to turn our back on. He is the one who needs to be given the glory. He doesn't need it. We have to give it to him. Proverbs 3:9 says, honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruit of all your produce. Hosea 10:12 says, sow for yourself righteousness, reap steadfast love, break up your fallow ground, for it is the time to seek the Lord, that he may come and rain righteousness upon you. Some of the new people who've come to church, they were asking, what is this? Because we normally don't do this every Sunday. But the principle is, we have brought the first fruits. So round about this time, you may see, if you go around country roads, you will see that the harvest is done. They've got the hay all tied up. The produce from the season has actually come into the shops or gone for boxing or whatever. We are in this season. We are born at a time where we can buy anything in any season, right? But how many of us know when we are eating in season, those things taste much better? I love watermelon, and when I eat watermelon in winters, it's like eating cardboard. There is no flavor. Because God's principle is eat in season. People who need a health boost, people who need to recover from an illness or whatever, the doctor always tells them to eat things in season. Because whatever is in season, God has blessed it with plenty. God has blessed it to be strengthened and life-giving and sustaining. And what we have done here is we have brought our first fruits. But let's remember to not only bring the produce. I'm presuming a lot of us would have done our weekly shop and added things to bring to the Harvest Festival. Let's not wait for a festival to do it. Let's do it in every season. Let's do it with our tithes and our offering. Let's do it with our time. The church that we came from, they were teaching their congregation a principle of tithing 10% of your time. So if you are working 50 hours a week or however, you are giving 5%. That's correct, isn't it? Yeah, because Sam is not here. I can't do math without Sam. So 5 hours in the week, you are giving to God. And it doesn't have to limit to 10%. It doesn't have to stay at 10%. You've got more time. Serve. This church, you will not believe how amazingly this church works. But it works because some people who are unseen and unheard actually come and clean the entire church, top to bottom, on a Tuesday. They will clean the toilets. They will wash, wipe everything. The kitchen is cleaned. Every time I've gone in, I've found the kitchen absolutely shining clean. When Sunday school finishes, everything is put away. When we are finishing church, the chairs are put away. These are the things that are serving. These are the things, the more hands to the plow, the quicker the work will be done. So if you are sitting here thinking, I don't have the finances to give, I don't have anything I could give, you have the gift of time. When I came to the UK 23 years ago this week, Daniel, I used to say to Dan, I didn't know anybody, and God knows it was miserable. Anybody coming to the UK should never come in October, never come in autumn. It is miserable. I missed home, I missed sunshine. People were inside their houses, nobody talked to everybody. I was stuck with my husband of 10 months. By that time, we had already fallen out a few times, so the newness had gone even. And so we said, the only thing we used to go to is church. So we said, in order to make friends at church, in order to belong to a church, in order to call a church home, we began to serve. We used to attend every meeting. Otherwise, we'd have to talk to each other if we stayed at home. We would help in every ministry. We used to do soup kitchen. We used to have a ministry where we would bring people from an old age home and give them a meal, and there would be music and there would be dancing, reliving their times. We used to help in pretty much everything. Food bank, clothing bank, anything that needed work, we were there. And that is the reason why, even now, 5 years from we have left All Nations, we still call it home. It's like your mom and dad's home. You moved on, you've got a job, you've got a family, but you don't forget the place that took you in the first time. I have found spiritual parents. We have found spiritual parents there. Sam's got Nana and Grandad there, because those were the first family we have. For anybody who comes to a church new, I will say, join a ministry. You don't have that amount of time, join the prayer ministry. Say, I will vouch to pray. Yesterday, they also shared about our ministry in India, Cherians in India, and they said, how can we help? And I said, the most important thing is prayer. We think of prayer as something we do at the last minute, but if we do prayer before, that will change the outcome of whatever we are doing, because there is power in prayer. There is miracles happen when we get together and we pray. So there is so much that people can help and bless in. But the first fruits, the first of everything, belongs to God, not the leftover. After I have cooked God, whatever is left, the peels and whatever, is yours. You give the best things, because it's about honoring God. At the start, I had said, we take the best things to honor people. We don't give them our leftovers. I made this soup 3 days ago. It is getting a bit moldy. Julie, I'm coming to see you. You can have that. Yeah? But I'm remembering Farah and her donuts. Whenever Farah used to go somewhere, she used to take donuts. And even when she couldn't move physically, I would have stuff come in through the door. It wasn't good stuff, but it was very good stuff, because it was a slice of cake, it was cookie. She would sit online and find these random people, and she would source stuff for us. You know, when you are with somebody and they know your preferences, they know your choices. At work, somebody will say, oh, I bought you this because I know you don't do that. You may not eat gluten, or you don't drink regular tea, and you think, wow, Somebody has taken time to remember these things, right? So it is all about giving God the glory and honor. And the Bible tells us in Hosea, sow for yourself righteousness. When things are going wrong in your life, as they will, maybe at that point see what can you change for better. Is there something in your life that you are not honoring God with? And I was saying to somebody yesterday, whenever God asks me to prepare a word, it is always for me also. I'm not preaching at you. I am talking to me and you. Let's look at our lives and see what can change. What can we drop so that we can give God more time? Sow righteousness. Remember, sowing, you harvest what you sow. Reap steadfast love. Your fruit should be love. When people look at you, people might think, do you know, Michelina, she never has a bad word to say. Every time I've gone to Michelina, she may not be feeling well, and she wasn't very well this week. She's loved, you meet her and she loves on you. And if you have a need, and you tell her, and she will pray for you, and she will come alongside and stand. So you know her fruit is love. If you're a part of prayer text, we've got a prayer text, and you may think, oh, that phone is pinging all the while. That phone is an opportunity for you to stop and pray. You may be at work, and the phone pings, and there's an urgent request for prayer. You can either say, I'll go home and pray, or you can say, I can pray right now. Every time, and I felt quite challenged, every time as Christians we will say, somebody will share a new situation, and we often say to them, I'm going to pray for you. How many times we go home and we remember to pray? Whenever God reminds you, whenever God puts anybody on your heart, you pray. There and then, it will take 2 seconds. You don't need long prayers. You don't need magic words. There is no set words. You just say, Lord, I'm just praying for Julie right now, Lord. You know the situation. That's all you need. That's all you need. I've shared this, when Sam used to be anxious, I used to simply ask him to say, Holy Spirit, come and help me. When he was a little dot in school, he used to have anxiety, and we used to just simply taught him to say, and he, what he said? He came home one morning and he says, I knew God worked, Mummy, but I didn't know he would work that quick. Because he had tested God, and he had seen that God works, the prayer works. Last scripture, Exodus 23:16, it says, you shall keep the feast of harvest, of the first fruits of your labor, of what you sow in the field. You shall keep the feast of ingathering, harvest, at the end of the year, when you gather in from the field the fruit of your labor. This is a reminder that whatever you are sowing, remember to harvest. If you said to somebody, look, I'm going to check on you, check on them. If you've said to somebody, I'll give you a lift in the morning, give them a lift in the morning. If you say to somebody, I'm going to pray for you, pray for them. If you say to somebody, I'll come alongside you in this journey, do that. The one thing that I will really encourage in this season for everybody to do, follow somebody, a righteous man or a woman, to follow. Find somebody who you think and pursue them. It could be a preacher online, and resources are available. It could be somebody in this church. It could be Sheila. It could be Colleen. It could be Pastor Dan. It could be Julie, Jill, anybody. And say, you know what, this person is ahead of me. I can learn from them. And that is why God has created communities. If your heart is for children, say, I'm scared of them, but I will come and help. I'll maybe make juice. I'll clear up the rubbish after they've cut all kind of shapes, because they love cutting and scissors. We have to hide it from them. Where is your heart at? How are you honoring God? And it says, don't forget. You keep on doing it, because God is a God of rhythms. He is a God of seasons. So I'm going to pray in a minute. We are going to pray that wherever this food is going, can you imagine having no food in the house and having children? Can you imagine your stomach, you haven't eaten for days and there is no food and you have no hope of any food coming? We are living in difficult times, guys. We are living in difficult times. If you can't spare many people don't know this, but we have a collection box at the back. It says food bank. It's right at the back. If ever you buy something extra, I am so good at buying things extra because I think I'm buying one and then 3 of the same things come along. I bought some sauces over Amazon, and my husband hasn't asked me yet because he's probably waiting for a good time. 3 sauces came. I thought I was buying one. I'm very happy that God has blessed me, but things can happen. Bring them and put it in there. Obviously, it's got to be not something that perishes soon. But from the this food bank, we take it to the local food bank, and the local community is blessed. There are families in West Bromwich the food goes to. So if you have something extra, or if God lays it on your hands, if you have a bonus or something and you say, I want to honor God, then there is that box at the back, and that is all through the year, 12 months of the year, we have that box. Bring something if you can and leave it in there. And over time, it is taken to the food bank and people are blessed with it. If you know of somebody in need, or if you are in need, if you know somebody, come and speak to one of the elders in confidence, and we can also refer you to the food bank. We are family. We need to stick together. We need to pray that God shows us where the need is and who can we bless. Lord, show me who I can bless today. And you will be amazed at the opportunity God gives you. You will be working more than 36 hours in the 24 hours because God will send things to you. God will send people to you. If you say, I want to pray for somebody, Lord, today, I promise you, you will find more than what you can handle because these people are ready. Harvest, remember, is ready. God says, where are the people for the harvest? And if that is you today, and this message is for you, then I pray that you take it to God and you say, Lord, where can I serve? I'm physically tired, but I can do something sitting down. I cannot come to church, but I can maybe do something from home. Or I can only do special events. We don't have many special events at church. But if there is something, a special event called out, can I give a few hours once every 3 months? And if that is you, I pray, speak to the leaders. I believe this is a season, in the new season. We're coming to the end of this year now. Very quickly, surprisingly, we are in October. In the last quarter, I believe this is the time to push because the new season is coming. Let's finish off all the jobs that we've started this year. Let's not hang about, guys. This is not the time for hanging about. If you think God put something on your heart for this season, finish it, complete it. It could be helping in a project. It could be finishing maybe a job at home that you started, because the new season will come with a new mandate. The new season will come with new people who will be needing work, help. New season will bring you a new ministry. God may be birthing in you a ministry, and you've been sitting there for over 20 years and saying, God, when is the time? The time is now. The Bible tells us the time is here. This is the day. And if that is the day, then pray about it in the next 3 months. Come and speak to one of the leadership and say, I'm ready. And if you want to be ready, if you are not ready, say, my heart is in this ministry. Will you make me sit with somebody who's already doing the ministry? If you want to serve at the door, then speak to Wayne. If you want to serve when we are doing the Lord's Supper, speak to Colleen. If you want to help with prayer, speak to Michelina. If you want to sing, speak to Hayden. There are so many things, and there may be something in your heart that we are not doing yet at this church. Bring it to the front and say, I want to do this. I want to reach my community. It breaks my heart to see so many people. I was just thinking today, a few years ago, we sent, Pastor Diana and I and the dogs, and Sam, we walked in the winters all the streets putting leaflets to the door. We did not have standing room that Sunday when it was the candlelight carols by candlelight. We did not have standing room. Let's invite. Let's start talking to people and saying, Christmas is coming. What are your plans for Christmas? Or we are having the carol service. Or we are having the nativity. Come and see the children. They're adorable. Or Bright and Light Party. We don't believe in the powers of darkness. Let's go for light. It's a free event. It's not even charged. You don't have to pay for anything. You just have to turn up. Say, I want my children to see the real light. I want my children to know what it is like to be the light in the community. There is so much that we can do. It's not just about buying food. I am so blessed to see this food. I think all of us are so blessed to see the sacrificial giving. And you know what? God knows the sacrifices you've made, and it is God, remember, who blesses it. Let's pray.